Kingston. Today, we welcome Brenda and Bruce, a couple who have taken up a challenge, namely the 2012 COPD Lungevity Tour.
So on behalf of the citizens of Kingston, welcome to our community, and congratulations on the journey that you will accomplish eventually as you move through the province. So thank you, and have a great journey forward.
We've been doing the Ambassadors COPD Lungevity Tour, which is been presented by the Ontario Lung Association. And when Bruce and I were offered the opportunity to do this tour, we were just thrilled, because it means doing two things that we love: riding motorcycle and talking about lung disease, specifically COPD, and how awareness needs to be done. So we started out in Burlington on the 16th of August, and we then proceeded to go to the Sioux. We went in the northern area, and from the Sioux we went to Thunder Bay, and for Thunder Bay we went back to our hometown in Sudbury. Then we came east to Ottawa, and now we're here in Kingston. And we're talking to people about how important it is to get an early diagnosis. Because when you have an early diagnosis of COPD, it means that the management of treatment of your symptoms will happen, and you will have a much better quality of life as the disease progresses, because this disease isn't curable, but it is preventable. And if they just have a simple spirometry test, which is a test that can be done in almost any doctor's office, and it only takes about 5 minutes, and it can add years to their life.
Guys wrote in, you're actually parked illegally. You're positioned in the wrong direction, and I didn't see a parking ticket on your motorcycle. So
I was diagnosed with chronic bronchitis, which is one of the facets of COPD, just about 3 years ago. And I did have some unknown lung condition as a young child. I was very slow, always out of breath every time I would try to run. As I grew older, I still had the breathing problems, but nothing that, in my career, a 35-year career as a police officer, nothing that bothered me to the extent that it interfered, you know. And then later in years, I started having more trouble, and it was in 1995 I first mentioned it to my doctor, because then I said, hey, something's wrong here, and it's more serious than what I thought, you know. And from there on, it progressed very slowly, and then 3 years ago he diagnosed me with COPD. Apparently my chronic bronchitis, I don't need oxygen. It doesn't do the job for me that it does for someone with her COPD.
In fact, why doesn't everybody take a really deep breath, don't let any out, and take another deep breath? Okay, you can let it out, but that last little bit you took in is what Bruce and I work with every day of our lives.
I was diagnosed with alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency when I was 25 years old. And then I was diagnosed with COPD when I was 31. I found it difficult to do normal chores that you shouldn't when you're that age, you know. And then I was put on oxygen 18 years ago. 10 years ago, I was put on oxygen 24/7. The hardest thing I have found with COPD as it has progressed is that you find yourself getting used to the way you are. People ask me if I'm breathless, and I say, no, I'm not. I'm not short of breath. I actually am very short of breath. When I go to do my housework, it's a real struggle.
As far as myself, I too find myself short of breath. I have difficulty getting dressed. I just say difficulty in that instead of just being able to throw on my clothing in the morning in 5 minutes, it's now taken me 15 or 20 minutes because I have difficulty bending to get my socks on. It just literally drains me of all my air, you know. And I don't walk any distance. Now, I always did walk. I played baseball, did my thing. But now I can't walk 60 feet without being winded and having to take a rest. Yeah, there are many different areas of life that it does affect you.
A young child, I was the slowest kid on the block. Always getting teased for being so slow and never being diagnosed, as I don't believe back in the early 40s they had diagnosis as they do today. I then had more problems as I grew older.
Early diagnosis. That is our main function, is to get people to realize that anyone over 40, if they're a little bit short of air, if they can't do their normal chores quite as well as they used to, if they've got a cough, you know, and it doesn't seem to go away, they should make an appointment with their doctor and have a spirometry test. And as I mentioned, the earlier the condition is diagnosed, the better management of your symptoms and treatment you're going to receive. And for the future, that means you're going to have a better quality of life. Also, the next biggest thing would be prevention. And as I said, it's not curable, but it is preventable. So people shouldn't smoke. 80 to 90% of people who develop COPD smoke. And in order to help the people that have already been diagnosed, we need more pulmonary rehabilitation and maintenance classes. It's very important that people keep up their strength. We lose so much muscle mass with this disease. And then the biggest thing, I guess, is the urgency. We cannot let this go. It needs to be done today, not put off for a week or put off for a year. There is one message that we can never emphasize enough, and that is, when you can't breathe, nothing else matters.